Chair.
Thank you, Senator Rockefeller. Senator Burr.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Brennan, welcome. Thank you for your long history of public service, and more importantly, to your family. Thank you for your willingness to put up with his hobby. Most, if not all, of the intelligence that our committee receives is the finished analysis that's derived from source reports and other raw intelligence materials that we don't see, and I might say we don't need to see all of. In order to ensure that we can perform our oversight duties of the Intelligence Committee, would you agree that the committee should be able to review all analytical product if requested?
On the face of that question, yes. My answer would be yes. However, I would have to take a look at the issues involved in terms of, what are we talking about in terms of access to that analytic product? Is it all staff, all committee members, whatever? I just can't make a commitment to that, but your intention and what I think your objective is, I fully support in terms of making sure this committee has the breadth of analytic expertise available from the agency.
As we go forward, there may be times that the committee will need the raw intelligence to judge the accuracy of analytical product that we're provided. If confirmed, will you provide the raw intelligence on those occasions when the committee requests it?
Senator, I would give every request from this committee for access to that information full consideration. That's my commitment to you.
Do you agree that it's a function of this committee's oversight that occasionally we would need to look at it?
I would agree that it's probably a function of your oversight that you would have interest in doing that, and it would be my obligation, I think, as Director of CIA, to try to be as accommodating as possible to that interest, while at the same time trying to respect whatever considerations need to be taken into account as we do that.
Mr. Brennan, as you know, the committee is conducting a thorough inquiry into the attacks in Benghazi, Libya. In the course of this investigation, the CIA has repeatedly delayed and in some cases flatly refused to provide documents to this committee. If confirmed, will you assure this committee that this refusal will never happen again?
I can commit to you, Senator, that I would do everything in my ability and my authority to be able to reach an accommodation with this committee that requests documents, because an impasse between the executive branch and the legislative branch on issues of such importance is not in the interests of the United States government, and so it would be my objective to see if we could meet those interests. At the same time, our founding fathers did sort of separate, the branches of government, judicial, legislative, and executive, and so I want to be mindful of that separation, but at the same time meet your legitimate interests.
They also gave us the power of the purse.
They certainly did, Senator.
And
I'm fully aware of that.
I would suggest that that's the only tool, and it's one we hate to use.
Yes.
Do you think that there's any situation where it's legal to disclose to the media or the public details of covert action programs?
I do not think it is ever appropriate to improperly disclose classified information to anybody who does not have legitimate access to it and has the clearances for it.
Let me clarify. I didn't ask for classified information. Right. I specifically said covert action programs.
By definition, covert action programs are classified, Senator.
I realize that.
Right. So I do not believe it is appropriate to improperly disclose any of those details related to covert action programs.
Let me point out that in the committee pre-hearing questions, you didn't really answer a question that dealt with specific instances in where you were authorized to disclose classified information to reporters. So could you provide for the committee any times that you were given the authority to release classified information?
I never provided classified information to reporters. I engaged in discussions with reporters about classified issues that they might have had access to because of unfortunate leaks of classified information. And I frequently work with reporters, if not editors of newspapers, to keep out of the public domain some of this country's most important secrets, and so I engaged with them on those issues. But after working in the intelligence profession for 30 years and being at CIA for 25 years, I know the importance of keeping those secrets secret.
Have any of your conversations with those reporters or media consultants about intelligence matters been recorded, or were there transcriptions of it?
I believe there have. I mean, I've been on news network shows, and I have been, engaged in conversations on a telephone and other things that I presume and I know that they have been recorded on occasion.
Have you specifically asked for them not to be recorded?
Whenever I talk to reporters, I do so at the request of the White House press office, and there are ground rules that are established there, and I'm not the one to establish those ground rules about whether or not they would be recorded or not.
You said in your responses to pre-hearing questions that in exceptional circumstances it may be necessary to acknowledge classified information to a member of the media. Did you tell media commentators that the United States had, and I quote, inside control or inside information on the AQAP bomb plot in May of last year?
I think what you're referring to, Senator, is when I had a teleconference with some individuals, former government officials from previous administrations, who were going to be out on talk shows on the night that a IED was intercepted. And so I discussed with them that some of the aspects of that, because I was going on the news network shows the following day. I wanted to make sure they understood the nature of the threat and what it was and what it wasn't. And so what I said at the time, because I said I couldn't talk about any operational details, and this was shortly after the anniversary of the bin Laden takedown, I said it was never a threat to the American public, as we had said so publicly, because we had inside control of the plot and the device was never a threat to the American public.
Did you think that that comment actually exposed sources or methods?
No, Senator, I did not. And there is an ongoing investigation, I must say, right now about the unfortunate leak of information that was very, very damaging, and I have voluntarily cooperated with the Department of Justice on that and have been interviewed on it.
Well, let me just say, as one that was overseas shortly after that, I certainly had on numerous occasions U.S. officials who expressed to me the challenges they've gone through to try to make apologies to our partners. And I personally sat down in London to have that apology conversation, and it was very disruptive. Very quickly, did you provide any classified or otherwise sensitive information to reporters or media consultants regarding the details of the Abbottabad raid?
No, I did not, Senator.
Then do you know who disclosed information that prompted the Secretary of Defense, Robert Gates, to advise the White House to tell people to shut up?
You would have to ask Senator Gates what he was referring to at that time, because I don't know.
In conclusion, let me just go back to the initial questions that the chair referred to. And in that, I think you might have taken her request on documents to be the documents that we've got outstanding right now. I think she was referring to the future. But let me just say, I hope that you take the opportunity, if you haven't already, to send back to the administration. It is absolutely essential that the documents this committee has requested on Benghazi be supplied before the confirmation moves forward. I realize I'm not saying that you were part of it, but it is absolutely essential that we get those documents before we begin a new administration at the CIA, and I hope you will deliver that message. I thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you very much, Senator.